You are listening to the Gritty Podcast, where we talk about all things gritty. All right, folks, welcome to the Gritty Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Call. I got Brad Hunt here behind the camera. This podcast is with our friend Cody Jones over at Wilde Arrow. Again, we've talked about Cody. He's been on the podcast a lot lately. He knows pretty much what there is to know about tuning and setting up bows and shooting bows. He's a proficient archer, competing in archery tournaments, but also just one of those guys who's like an archery guru when it comes to setting up bows across all the different bows. He's been doing it forever. Used to work at Hoyt. But he's over there at Wilde Arrow, awesome guy. Today we talk about this Option Archery sight, which is what I put on my bow right now. We're going to go over a bunch of different sights. I was using the Axel, is it True Ball or is it, it's owned by True Ball, but.
Yeah, the Axel Landslide.
I've got the Zero. We're going to go over a few of these sites, but today's podcast is the one I chose for this season for just hunting. Elk. It's the Option Archery sight. It's got the
Option 8.
Yeah, it's got the fixed pins here, and then it's got the pin that's single pin here for dialing it, but the whole housing doesn't move. So it's a unique sight. It's really interesting. I actually got it when it first came out like 4 or 5 years ago, and since then they've only just made it tougher, more durable, and badass. So I'm excited to use it. There's a lot of pros and cons to it, but mostly pros. And we're going to get into it today with Cody. He's going to walk us through it, and it's a great show. Before we get into that, I want to remind you about huge giveaways we got going on. We got one going on with Stealthy Nutrition right now, Stealthy Hunter. He and Ryan and Hillary, I should say, have put together a big giveaway. You can win a Stone Glacier pack, a PSE Evo XF, which is what I'm shooting this year.
Brand new pair of crispy Laponias.
Okay.
Yep. You get a 1-year membership to the Go Hunt Insider.
Good thing I have Brad here.
There's a lot. There's like the outdoor class membership.
Dozen arrows. Day 6 broadheads.
Yep. $300 in Stealthy Nutrition product.
A Western Hunting Summit pass.
Yep.
For next year's Western Hunting Summit.
Big giveaway.
Huge giveaway. Just to be entered to win, you just go to Stealthy and do a little shopping.
Yep.
And you're entered to win. And it's pretty cool. You also get 10% off. So whether you win or not, you're still winning. You get 10% off site-wide right now. Get yourself anything you want. I like the CBD sleep gummies, the normal gummies. I like the glassing pads, rifle covers. Just shop. They got some cool stuff. And it supports Ryan and it supports Hillary. They're trying to grow a business over there. They're dear friends of ours, and they're doing great. So use the code GRITTY over there and get in on this big giveaway and get a discount. And then we're doing the same thing with Go Hunt. Go Hunt, we're partnering right now. We just dropped a film. We're dropping more films, a 3-part series of this epic bow hunt I did with Brady Miller and Pedro and Ryan Lampers. It's a fun hunt. I hope you guys are enjoying it that are tuning in. But Go Hunt is doing a massive giveaway too. And right now you can win a bow, you can win some arrows, you can win a $500 gift card to the Go Hunt Gear Shop.
Yep, Annihilator broadheads.
Again, another big package.
Yep.
And to be entered to win, you just go to Go Hunt and use the code GRITTY. You can use the code GRITTY to buy a digital maps, to get an insider membership, just to shop at the gear shop, anything. They carry just a wide array of hunting goods from the same shelters and gear that we use. You can find a lot of it in the gear shop. Use the code GRITTY over there, and you're going to get 10% off that. You're going to get a $20 gift card for the gear shop if you go right now in and buy the digital maps. So the digital maps are $50, but then you immediately get $20 credit toward the gear shop. So they're costing you, it's $30 for the maps. It gives you all 50 states. You can download all the layers. I highly recommend the Go Hunt digital maps. Even if you already have a map system, get both. It's worth it. There's specific things that the Go Hunt maps do that excel above the other map systems on the market. It's getting better and better, new innovations every day. Plus, it's a hunter-owned company. It's filled with hunters that work there. So support Go Hunt. Go over there. Their digital maps are awesome. And you can get $50 off the insider membership, which is the big kahuna. It gives you kind of access to everything, including all the draw and point application strategy content that's out there. It's just a solid investment. So go check that out. Use the code GRITTY over at Go Hunt. Get in to win. Save some money. Same thing. Use the code GRITTY over at Stealthy. Get in to win. and save some money. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting us. If you're listening to this on iTunes or Spotify or someplace, you might want to go watch this video as Cody shows a lot of visuals about the site, how it works, talks about the pros of it, and it's a great show. It's got an oval peep. It's a really interesting, innovative, different type of site, and hope you enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in. Stay gritty. All right, folks, welcome to the Gritty Podcast. I am your host, Brian Call, and I'm at the Wilde Arrow Archery Shop with Cody Jones. And Cody and I are going to go over this option sight that I'm throwing on my bow. It's got a little dovetail on it. It's a little unique compared to a lot of other sights. I've been using the Landslide, what is it, the Axle?
True Ball Excel.
True Ball Excel, also the Garmin Zero. I've kind of used about most of the sights on the market, but I'm going to talk about this one. Cody's setting it up, so I'm just going to film it and have Cody kind of talk about it as we go, as you mount it on. So, Cody.
Yes, sir.
What's unique about this sight compared to the rest on the market?
Some of the other ones out there.
Yeah.
So, the thing that I love about the option sight that I think is not a lot of people talk about it. One, they're extremely well built. They're a tank. They're super durable. They have a ton of options and features, but the thing that I love most about this that I see with shooters when they come back in with the traditional slider sights, for example, like just a quick example, anything that has a slider that's got a knob on it that's rolling the entire housing and sight up and down. What people struggle with is the consistency in their peep alignment. As you move that sight up and down, it's going to change the relationship of your peep housing to that scope housing. So when you're doing that, you've got to be cognizant of that and remember to keep that aligned. And we see people come back all the time with sight tapes that are big gap, small gap, big gap, small gap, and they're just not sighting in properly. So what Option has that I think is really cool is instead of the whole entire housing moving, it's just one pin individually. So you can get multi-pins and a variation of how many. And then when you want to go single, you just roll that out of the way, and now your single just becomes its own little floater.
Yeah.
But it stays within the housing, so your peep sight to housing relationship is always the same.
Never changes.
Yeah, you're not fighting that. You're not having to readjust your anchor position. And for some people, that tends to be inconsistent for them. So
it's pretty unique in that regard that you have the single pin option, and basically I can run this single pin. Even with this fixed pin in place, I could still run the single pin.
Oh, yeah.
So I could do 27 or 37 yards or anything in between.
Yeah, so you get a pick. So you can pick however you want to set this up. You can start with your single pin at the top and then space your pins down. So you can go 20, and then we can go 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. And then when you move this, that's at 20, and you roll it
anywhere you want.
Anywhere you want. I tend to leave this at the bottom, and I'll run it to where my fixed pins are at the top. Yeah. And this will be, because usually if I'm going to use the floater, it's usually going to be for the further distances. So I like to have that already close to that further distance. So I'll set it like this. Fixed pins at the top, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Then if I needed to move it to 73, I could move this down, roll it. I'll have a tape on the side that'll give me those indicators. And I'll put the tape on 20 down so that if I did have the time, maybe I'm sitting in a situation where something's going to come in roughly 30 yards or 20, 30 yards, I can have this set up here and just have that completely out of the way all ready to get go and run it as a full single pin.
I love the single pin accuracy. It's nice to have that if you have the luxury of running that. But sometimes you're just guessing it's about 30 yards and you just want your pins ready. You're already at full draw.
Yep.
And you're guessing yardage a little bit. On a bigger target like an elk, that's a little easier to do.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that's unique, typically one of the reasons that this site I don't think has been as sought after is because you run out of, one of the reasons a guy uses a slider is so when he tops out at like 85 yards, he can then slide to 100, 110. Yep. You just get more range out of a sliding sight.
You do. Yep.
Out of one that just stays fixed.
Yep.
However, this is unique because there's this oval. So talk about that a little bit, because that's it's
different.
It's kind of the blend of everything now.
Yep. So with the oval, it being stretched out, you can get...
And we're talking about this sight housing.
The housing, this part right here.
It's oval.
Yep. And so The oval part of it gives you more room in that housing, so
to fit
pins. Yeah, and then you can get more out of your slider. You can run that down a little bit farther.
Now, I was really skeptical at first because with the oval housing comes an oval peep,
which is genius. Because the first oval sights that came out, they didn't really have peeps to match that. And so it was just this weird alignment that, if you got used to it, it was okay. But now that you can get oval peeps to match that, it's different. The first time you look through one, it's weird because you're used to seeing circle, circle.
Mm-hmm.
But now that you get the oval, it allows you to run a larger peep to get more light in, still match and have a good reference and a good clean sight picture, but then it also gives you more room for that slider that, in my opinion, in a hunting situation, I'm going to get plenty out of that, more than I would probably need.
Brad said he's getting 280 feet per second off his bow, and I think he said he's getting 100 yards out of this oval.
Yeah, which is, honestly, most people, unless they're shooting a really light setup and their peep sight's really high, honestly, most people get 100 out of a normal slider anyway.
Oh, I see what you've got down there, the black gold here.
Most people are only getting 100 out of this either way.
Yeah.
To get beyond that is hard. Even me.
That's why I do like the fact that this is fixed.
Yep.
But it's also single pin.
Yep.
And the whole sight housing doesn't need to move at all. So
super simple.
My peep alignment stays true all the time.
Yep.
I mean, it kind of simplifies a lot of things. I feel like it's quite a good solution. I'll shoot it now and I'll try it and I'll see. This is the jury's out for me. I haven't actually run it a lot.
Right.
But I'm like, I did run one back when they first came out, but my issue was I think I topped out at 90 yards or 85 yards and I wanted more room and I couldn't slide it anymore.
The old housings were smaller. A lot smaller. I don't have one laying around real quick, but the oval gives you more room, more space. Still lets you run your larger peep, so like I said, you get more light. But it's a really simple, cool design. They did a great job.
What I feel like the worst part about a slider is when you forget to slide it back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, most sliders.
That's why I don't want it in a hunting situation.
Yes.
Because I slide the whole housing up or down, and then once I've done that to let's say to go to 80 yards, and then you forget to move it back, and so now your fixed pins 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever, they're all off by 20 yards.
Yeah, and I think this forces you to remember, right? If you
can't mess this one up.
No, and when you close it and you have this set to wherever it will fall, kind of as that last pin, like. You're forced to make a process. Like you're forced to make a move, and then you go move, and then you're like, the next step would be to this.
But even then, I often adjusted it when the first version I got. I never swung those pins out of the way.
Yeah,
I just always used the floater.
If you're going from, let's say this was over 70, if I counted right, down, you could just go like this and not even move the other pins.
Yeah,
you don't have to. If you don't want to. Yeah.
But the thing about it is the fact that I don't have to remember to slide that back by accident in the heat of the moment. Because the single pin, I moved it, and it's still there. But I go into autopilot on my fixed pins.
Yeah, so if it comes in closer, and say you slid that down to 75, and it just keeps coming closer, and it's just getting closer and closer. You can just go straight back to your pins and work your way back in.
So it's cool.
I think it's awesome.
We'll see. I'm going to run it with the oval peep, and then I'm going to shoot it and see how I like it. But
we'll torque tune it.
I love the innovations.
Yeah, I think one, super durable. There's a lot of sights on the market for durability, but these guys, it's a really robust sight. So durability is not going to be an issue. He's got pads here. There's pads on the back of that, so it's a magnet. So when you open this up and close it, there's no noise. It's super quiet. So I've seen a lot of people, if you've got the time, roll it. You're not going to have, man,
I love it.
There's no noise.
I love the concept.
Super quiet.
Brad's been smoking with it too. So.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that have used this. I think Jeremiah here's used it a few times. We just get so caught up in the slider thing, and you got to have the single pin slider thing or 3-pin slider thing, and that's great. But I really think the option sight is
it's kind of your hunting. I don't necessarily want it at tack necessarily.
Right. Yeah, tack's one of those where it is nice to have a single pin. You got time. You're moving it for everything.
But for hunting, man, it seems to check the boxes.
It checks all of them. You can put a light in it. It's super bright. All your axis adjustments that you're going to need to get those the level bubble where you want it. Super robust, super bright. I never run the light personally. I think the ring and how it's set up is plenty bright enough. Yeah.
So we're going to mount it on the bow.
Yep.
And just real quick, how do you do that?
So on yours, this is a dovetail version. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a torque tune on it, see where that needs to be as far as an in and out. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to start with it. I'll probably have you start with it all the way out like this.
Yep.
We'll go do a quick torque tune at 20 yards, fire some good shots and some torque shots and see what that's doing. And we may end up somewhere in the middle. We might end up closer towards the front. And then depending on your sight picture to this oval peep sight, we'll kind of see that relationship and kind of make you
try to get
you in a happy medium. Yeah, get you in a happy spot to where you got a good sight picture, both torque tuning real well. We're kind of in the middle.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a great setup for you. I think you'll really enjoy it because, yeah, it just takes out a lot of the oh crap moments of making pins move and whatnot. And you can always go back and reference your other pins. Third axis, we can just set that. We'll set the second axis. The third's kind of cool. It's on a pivot system up here. We can set your second over here.
Okay.
It's a good sight. I think you'll like it.
All right. I'll keep you all posted. I still love my Garmin Zero sights, which I got a couple of those on other bows.
Yep.
But it's not legal in all the states. I really want to get proficient with this as well for all the states where I need this fixed pin. So I'm going to use it on most of my hunts. I think all of my hunts this year until I start to hunt coos in Arizona. Then I might go back to the Zero.
It's situational based, right? If you don't know what you're going to be in, this covers you for everything. It covers you for the close in the timber, elk coming in real close, and you're just catching pins, right? Yep. And then I think depending on what...
You got to have both skills.
Yeah, depending on what setup you run.
Coos here are small.
Yep.
Like little Labradors and small targets, and they're hard to gauge how far away they are because when they're 20 yards away, they look 40 yards away.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're like thinking of a normal deer.
I wouldn't shoot unless I could range one of those things.
You really have to range.
I'm going to miss.
And they're so sketched out and they're so on it. That's why the Zero is fun to use on coos.
Get an accurate range on them.
It does empower you quite a bit, but for elk, they're big targets. And most of the states I'm in, you gotta run a non-electronic sight.
Yeah, so. You're checking a lot of boxes with this one.
All right, that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. Leave us a comment below if you like the video. Stay gritty.